Welcome back to Central Coast Disc Golf. This is the conclusion of the 2023 Mid-America Open at Harmony Bends. I'm Nate Perkins here with Connor O'Reilly. Who's going to take it down, Connor?
It's going to be a tight race. We got 4 players within 1 stroke. That's just here on the lead card, not even to mention the chase card, which we've seen multiple chase card winners on the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year. Kyle Klein, Joel Freeman, both only 2 back on that chase card. We know they can do damage. And Joseph Anderson, Connor Rock, both solid players as well. Cole Redolin, Jake Hebenheimer, the local, rounding out that leaderboard. And hole 1 is a gorgeous starter. Nate mentioned it's one of those kind of dream 18 type holes, and it absolutely is. Par 5, 833 feet. Out of bounds comes into play on every one of these shots here, except for maybe the second if you're able to execute a really good first drive. Most players looking to get across this creek we're flying over here and get a little check skip up to the left.
How far to cross that first creek, you think?
It feels like at least a good upper 300s, maybe 400 foot shot, but it's a pretty specific line. So if you stray at all, you're probably catching some of the canopy and might get knocked down. Second shot, rarely will you see players come over this creek, but here and there we have seen it happen with the right-hand, backhand players. A lot of times you'll see a forehand setup shot on that second or a straight kind of turning shot. And then the third one, another crucial shot on this one, very touchy approach.
Career PDGA wins, 6 times a winner this season. He is reigning champion at the Rock Road Rumble, Full Turn Open, and the Passage. He finished 6th here last year, playing the MAO for the 6th time. He is your co-leader at 15 under par from Ozark, Missouri, Andrew Presnell.
Those accolades of Presnell just kind of go to show how much of a grinder he's been over the last decade almost. Just played tournaments as much as his body feels ready for it, and definitely a very consistent professional player.
Yeah, Andrew's played at least 40 events over the past 3 years, including almost the entire tour.
Yeah, that's pretty much means he's playing the tour and adding his whole own little tour on top of it. So that's definitely a lot of work, and he gets caught by that canopy.
Former junior world champion. His first pro win came just 3 years ago. Now over 160,000 in career winnings. Winner at the Memorial and 2 weeks ago at the Casey Wide Open. He is the 2nd ranked player in the U.S. and he is your co-leader at 15 under par from Urbandale, Iowa, and supported by Prodigy, Titan Disc Golf, Chuck Trump Bass, Wander Disc Golf, and GG Jerky, Gannon Buhr.
And if you thought this list of accolades felt long, this kid is less than 20 years old, you guys. It's going to be a lot of accolades on his tombstone.
Arguably the #1 player in the world. Unfortunately, didn't attend the last major in Europe.
There's that nice flat release with an overstable disc that we like to see, or that Gannon likes to play, and makes that bird dance a little bit.
23 career wins, nearly 400,000 in career earnings. A past USDGC champion and a past champion here at the MAO in 2007. Supported by Lone Star Discs, his new endeavor, Sacred Discs, and Team Pitch Discs. And playing in his 492nd PDGA event from St. Louis, Missouri, Nico Locastro.
Crazy to think that Nico won the USDGC 14 years ago now, Connor.
That is wild. Yeah, Nico been playing competitive disc golf for 2 decades plus now. Getting close to his 500th event. And that's a good shot there.
A hard touring pro playing his 23rd event this season. He's supported by Lone Star, Hooligan Disc Golf, Drive Bag, and Discology. 7 times a winner, most recently at the Hideaway Open, playing the Mid-America Open for the 2nd time. He finished 15th here last year. From Lorena, Texas, Chandler Kramer.
I'm actually kind of Excited to watch him play this course all forehand.
Yeah, definitely going to see some creativity out of him and some lines that we probably didn't see or think of. And left to right crosswind, probably going to be the most difficult wind for this flex forehand he's trying to throw here. I'm not sure if he wants to go across the creek, though, on this first, or if he just wants to put it anywhere short, knowing that his long forehand will give him a good second. Looks to be lining up a turning angle. Definitely going for this.
Oh man, yeah. That is gorgeous.
Yep.
Huge shot.
Yeah, flares out to the right. He's going to have a pure hyzer second shot. And Andrew was kind of fortunate just to drop straight down off those branches. A lot of times you'll kind of see them slow the disc down, but not really stop them, and it just trickles into that creek out of bounds. There is that right side from Nico. Does it have the height?
Ooh, it seemed to just fall out of his hands. Wow, out of bounds. Almost a rethrow. It just barely advances to the creek.
Yeah, out of that probably 375 feet of flight, he's only going to advance maybe 100. Gannon kind of turfs it, but honestly, anything safe on that second shot is going to give him a birdie opportunity. Just going to have a little bit more on the approach than he would like. This is a green that if you can come in with a slower speed swing, something below like 40 miles per hour, it's really going to help you land it close.
This is a pretty scary flight right here. And well thrown. He's on the deep side though. Pretty serious death putt coming back.
Yeah, we'll probably see kind of a half-hearted bid with that water behind.
Oh, Gannon's getting aggressive
no.
with this A2.
Too nosy on that one, and fortunate to fight through the leaves. Not a great putting window from there, though. Should be an easy par. Presnell also making sure not to mess with that short side out of bounds. I think knowing that this is one of the three hardest holes on the course, these players are going to be just okay starting with par here.
And if he gets that thing warmed up.
Yeah, we all know how dangerous Gannon is on the putting green. He's kind of almost reinvented the game in a way, making players really see the value of a fast-paced putt. And the way he drops it in there is just unlike any other. And there it is. Hard putt to commit to from Nico.
Yeah.
And Kramer with the lone birdie. 3 forehands will do it.
Yeah, that was a pretty good angle to execute off that tee with the left-right cross for Kramer. And let's see how he likes to attack hole 2.
All right, hole 2, one of the hardest holes on the course. Par 4, 655. You need most of that distance off the tee. Some players going this inside line. A lot of players throwing the backhand around the left side. There's one small landing zone right here. If you want to attack this green for birdie, you're headed back up this hill, probably another 20 feet from the fairway up to this green, and then there's an OB line on the right side at the cliff. Very easy to just like kick and find yourself down that wall.
Chandler going with that inside line, flex forehand, pushing it deep, but hasn't hit anything yet. And
yeah, if you're past that road on that left side, it's like there's really no chance of an up and down.
he's going to have some kind of like 45-degree Anheuser forehand to pan to flat, but honestly, we'll see if he wants to even try to put it on the green. I think it'd kind of be a madman's play. Likely M4 for Buhr. Finds himself hanging out kind of nearby Kramer there, just a little short of him. Nico needs to get skinny through these middle trees.
Wow,
And
he does.
yeah. A little too much turn here. Oh,
Wow.
I was lost on the course apparently because that was
that's
money.
Right on the road. He's still probably 280 out.
Nico playing that classic flex line that we've known him for so much.
Now sit. Wow, that's right at circle's edge.
An elusive birdie here on hole 2. This was the hardest hole on the course on a day where we did see a cash cut line, so course stats definitely playing a little easier than a typical full field.
Wow, that was about as aggressive as a play. And that was one tree away from rolling into circle 2 for Gannon.
Yeah, and even that's very makeable for his putting power. He won't have to do anything but stand still from there. And Kramer, this looks a little too nosed up. Did he choose the right disc?
Jill.
Oh my goodness.
That just get backwards inbounds.
Well, there's a good break for you, Chandler. Man, you need him sometimes in the woods to play hot, and Presnell's line was tracking before it started to fade. Another close shot with that soft zone. He's been throwing a lot for those approaches where he wants it to sit with minimal ground action. Yeah, Gannon doesn't love it, but I don't think it was the putt's fault.
That was a rare chance for birdie. Connor, this plate is the hardest hole on the course. Only 2 birdies.
2 birdies.
Zachary Nash, Silas Schultz.
Those kids can throw the disc, let me tell you something. Both those guys, top level power, very clean swings.
Actually got to give a shout out to Zachary he was outside the cut near the end of that shortened second round, came back to make it.
I think he birdied the last 5, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I think he got 5 of the last 7 or something to come back and be on the cut, be the last person in, and then he went on to have himself a day on the final round.
Yeah, Zach's an extremely talented player. I've played with him a few times this season. Definitely a lot of promise in his game, and he's only going to be getting better. Hole 3, par 3. Our first look at one of our touchy technical guys. This one's 262 feet. You got to come crest over this mound just a little bit, and then second half of the flight, you're kind of just drifting ever so slightly down the hill. Dead straight shot can get you right up there to the right side of the basket. And the baby right-hand backhand flex shot is going to be the one that puts you the closest, but don't be too worried about parking this one. Just try to put it in that circle's edge, right side, and make a putt.
Ooh, tough to get the forehand to sit.
Yeah, this is a really hard line. He's going to have to get this one to flip up to flat and then just kind of slide down that hill, but a little too much flip there. Presnell playing kind of that flex play.
Oh yeah, love that tree.
That thing was going to cruise right over the basket, and this one does drop steeply behind. Probably one of the steepest drop-offs on the course.
It's the move.
Underpaced by Buhr and almost slips through to the high side, but he's going to have pretty much just a pitch up from there. I don't even think Gannon Buhr will be running that one. And Nico,
Oh, what a roll. I think that's one of his...
The Gnome, I believe.
The
maybe
sacred
his
disc,
new,
yeah.
I know him and Chandler have both been throwing in a lot. At that yellow disc you'll see Chandler throwing throughout the course will be a Gnome as well. Nice, slightly overstable approach disc. I think Nico's even been putting with him. I know he's putted with a myriad of putters over the years, stealing your word from yesterday, Nate.
Those are good layups. It's kind of hard to lay it up on this one.
Good comeback for Chandler. Chandler putts pretty overstable as well as Nico. He puts the copperhead kind of like a rhino-esque disc.
Nico getting back to even.
Presnell with a little tree stop for just outside the bullseye. This is the kind of birdies that you're going to need to pick up. You got to grab all the easy ones out here and manage the longer holes. Especially if you want to battle with this kid right here.
And Gannon, the only one without a birdie. Presnell takes the lead.
Everyone kind of slow here through 3 on this leaderboard, feeling the tightness of that final day.
They call me Mo Lewis. Welcome to my Columbia. Columbia is a very unique town in Missouri. There's so many great local stores and restaurants and microbreweries that you can go to, and I love being here.
All right, all 4. It's a Shohei Ohtani slider, Connor. Tough to really know where it's coming from.
You got to get it to drop.
Yeah. Really is hard to get the height on this one correct as well as the speed. Really haven't seen too many park jobs on this one. We've seen some putts made from deep.
Yeah, very common to see good shots wind up circle too long. I think Gannon's been the only real close one we've seen. Little overturn for Presnell, but honestly, that is the better miss on this one in my mind.
I like it overturned because it can kind of cut out. Yeah, he's right inside the circle there.
Nico going to that gnome. This looks well thrown. Chandler knows how it flies, asking for it to go in the bucket. Not quite, but that's about as good as you can ask for here.
Yeah, he threw that so soft and used the stability there. Again, this is another hard hole to play with the forehand.
Yeah, you got to really have something kind of understable like we saw Joel throw yesterday.
That's right. That was the best shot we saw.
Yeah.
And look how slow Gannon is with the footwork.
He's been pacing this one so well. And turns it too much, but gets fortunate.
Those are 4 quality shots. Chandler, 38 feet.
Oh, hell no. That's about as bad as it gets, bro. That's the terrible line.
Yeah, it's a little too driven on that putt for Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler definitely one of those players that is, you know, very vocal about his shots as soon as they come out of his hand.
Absolutely. He definitely lets you know all of his thoughts and doesn't leave anything for guesswork.
Nice casual 30-footer for Gannon.
Nico, pretty normal putt, but, you know, had a kind of tree in his stance and a little branch blocking his eyesight. Got to make sure to focus up on those. This round, you're going to see Presnell make sure to do his routine on short putts, long putts, doesn't matter. He's just a player who knows his game and sticks to it. And, you know, he's got a slow start going, but no bogeys yet.
I feel like the first 10 times I played with Andrew, he'd fake me out and start to walk. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think the first time or two, he definitely got me once or twice. But I'm also a 2 pump fakes guy, so I think I kind of understood a little more. But all 4 players, 1 down through 4, not the start they're looking for. It's time to ratchet it up and start getting some scores here in this middle stretch. Hole 5, par 4. Pretty drastically uphill on this first shot, maybe in the tune of 30 to 40 feet. Right side, left side gap. There's 2 options here. You'll probably see a good mix of both, but if you can get up on top of the hill, that's really the key here. Second shot, whether you throw a little flexing forehand or just a straight backhand that contests with that cluster of about 20 trees on the high right side of the basket, you just got to kind of throw a shape on that second one and hope that you get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just far enough.
Throws it well and gets the ground slide. You're seeing Gannon going with that foul core down the left side, and he just was a little bit late on the release there.
Don't throw.
Apparently he felt a distraction there or something and threw it and was not able to execute, so trying to tell himself just to make sure to find his comfort zone before he goes.
Wow, Andrew hammers that up the inside line.
Yeah, him and Nico just playing laser shots, not just a tiny bit of flex out of the hand, but not really moving much. And that's kind of what the uphill shots will do to you. They kind of take away a little bit of the movement of the disc. You just got to get it there quick. Chandler throws that about as good as you can hope to with the forehand.
Yeah, that's 415 feet. It's a huge shot.
Gannon
Gannon
has a
found
window.
a lane.
Oh my
This-
goodness. The rich get richer, Nate Perkins.
It was just a perfect little lane, wasn't it?
Oh, man. And he executed it well. He took advantage for sure. It wasn't like he was just handed the easiest thing. He still had to hit the gap.
This is filleted.
Wow.
That almost went in.
Chandler has thrown a couple very impressive shots already, and that one was, you can't execute it better, really. It's really hard to get this one to stop at the basket. A lot of times it kind of slides just long if you pure it with the downslope.
Okay, that's 40 feet for birdie there. This is about as good of a drive as we've seen.
Leaks it a little bit left. He's going to have a just outside the circle putt up the hill.
Little focus, just drifted down the hill.
Gannon pitching up, trying to save his par.
Is that PA3 that he likes to throw, or that green one, or is that PA4?
I'm not sure if that one's PA3 or P Model OS,
Nice.
but I don't know that he really throws the P Model OS that much, but we'll have to ask him. Or you guys let us know in the comments. What's that green disc? Presnell off the top. Had the want on it, but...
And that's Andrew's father on the bag. Pretty cool deal.
Chandler flat on the right side, not able to drop it in there. Yeah, and I think when you're not able to get the nose down on some of those low flat right ones, we see them kind of just trickle off. And Nico short off the rim.
Birdie to bogey, man.
Definitely playing with some quicker pace. I've noticed. I feel like a lot of his lies are happening in that 15-second span. So good on him for speeding it up. But I'm sure he wishes he would have had a little more focus on that one.
It's quite ridiculous for you to play like this. Come on!
A little bit of frustration out of Mr. Locastro.
Right, hole 6. Deceptively hard 330-foot hole here. This thing needs to be on hyzer the whole way. You need to feed it through this one specific gap that the drone is flying through. The difficulty here is the ground play that we've seen so many people get. The fairway is slanted from left to right just enough that if you hit on edge, a lot of the times it stands up and it rolls back down the hill toward those logs. I think we've seen 6 out of the 8 shots do just that.
Yeah, and with as drastic of hyzer as you kind of need to get the disc matched through this gap and moving up left, it almost always wants to do that little check roll. You can't really... You could technically play like a super steep hyzer that kind of gently stands and lands flatter, but I think this gap, the speed you got to throw here, that's just too touchy.
That was good. Go. That was amazing.
Yeah, Andrew able to get it
Now
up to
chill.
the high side of the
No.
basket.
And there it is.
Yep. He did
Now you
everything.
can hear the crowd. No.
He did everything he could to work himself to the high side, hopefully to mitigate some of that check roll back right, but he goes all the way down. And luckily, they put that line of logs there to stop.
Oh, he's going roller. I was curious what kind of shape we were going to see. It seems improbable.
It really does. That flippy forehand roller was his best option, and just not quite able to give that one the hyzer angle out of the hand that he probably needed. Nico gets the gentle ground play and gives himself a chance for a bounce back.
Sit, please.
Really nice. Way to land that flat.
Up the hill. Similar spot we saw yesterday, not able to capitalize this time. Buhr, flat on the right side, not able to get it to stick. And he's still struggling with some distractions. That's 2 straight holes.
Pretty rare to see that man distracted.
I feel like this tournament, a little bit less of a crowd, kind of a quieter course, especially when the cicadas aren't going too crazy. And yeah, I don't know. I guess when there's more of a kind of constant murmur, it's easier to block it out. But when it's real quiet and then there's kind of one stimuli, I think it can be more difficult.
Yeah, I could see that.
Still clean for Kramer, though I'm sure he wants to mix some more birdies into that 5 straight streak. Everyone's still at 1 down, and we're now through 6 holes.
Yeah, this is not the start they're looking for, and we're going to do a score check because at this point in the round, Kyle Klein and Joel Freeman have tied things up. They're 3 down through 6. They're at 16 under par.
We got 4 people knotted up at the top on a course where so much can happen. Hole 7, one of the signatures out here. A gap that gets tighter the higher you try to fly it, but you're going to need some of that height if you want to get a birdie here. Unless you're able to throw just something overstable and super fast down low on a flex. Really, you just choose fairway or driver depending on how hard or how much angle you want to hit this one with. And if you get out that initial gap, I think you feel pretty good about this one. You get the 2, you're feeling great.
Oh, yeah. A little too much drift.
So close to being a great shot there. This probably has to be the most particular shot, just timing, angle, power-wise, to get the birdie on throughout the track. And Gannon gets it there quick. A little bit too much turn, looked like, but
Did get there quick. Oh, he had it drifting, just not quick enough. Good kick, though.
I feel like this one does set up really well for the forehand if you got it, because you can just keep it a little lower through the fatter part of the gap.
Sit, please.
Yeah, this checks up. He's going to be in the circle, possibly. Yes.
What a flight.
Yeah, I almost would prefer the forehand here, I feel like. Just if you look at the numbers and the height you got to throw it at. No problem for Presnell. Once you're out that gap, you're pretty much counting on an up and down unless you really make a mental error.
And this really was the best day of the 4. 90 degrees is so much more pleasant than 100 degrees. Oh, and Gannon just flies it into the chains.
Second hardest hole on the course.
Really? 7?
Yeah. Not a ton of danger once you're out that gap. And Chandler would have been one of only 6 birdies on the day if he was able to collect that one. That's going to sting. Yeah, Gannon Buhr was joined by only Kyle Klein, Chris Clemens, Connor Rock, and Jake Brown to birdie this one.
Yeah, Chandler's seeming a little deflated there. All right, and from the second hardest hole on the course to the easiest hole on the course.
Second easiest today, apparently.
Oh, 16 took the cake. All right.
It got dethroned.
Well, this is just one of those holes that it almost feels like a par 2.
It really does.
You feel like you're losing a stroke to the field if you're not
Inclement
scoring.
weather, it's still probably playing 0.5 under. You could play it in a tornado, it would still average like 4.6 or 2.6.
And Gannon drifts in that A2 just a little too much, and he's down into the creek. That creek is casual.
He thought he liked it out of his hand, but the trees had other things in mind, and Nico almost matches his, but able to squeak through.
Funny how disc golf works like that. Nico's shot was a little worse. Yeah.
By the books, yeah. Yeah, the woods can work you down in that way sometimes if you let it get, if you think about, okay, I threw the best angle, the best line, my card got lucky.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more people play that right side this year, and
For sure.
Andrew makes that gap look big once again.
Chandler playing that gnome, Nico's disc, and I've seen him throw that quite a bit over the last couple months, and he really has it dialed in. I feel like I haven't really seen him throw a bad shot with it.
So Gannon's down here by these little limestone bluff, and the creek has kind of carved some little tunnels out in the limestone. It's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the cooler hillsides on the property if you just had time to kind of walk around, explore, and looking for stuff. But there's probably some little crawdads down in the creek and stuff. Nico from the high side drops it in. Everyone's still matching each other's scores. We're going to have a bunch of 2 downs going into hole 9. These players are probably looking to be more in that 4 to 6 down range to not feel as much pressure to birdie on the back 9. But once they get through hole 9, there is a stretch of holes where we can really kind of string some together. And Gannon's still kind of trying to find his rhythm. Dealt with some distractions, just been slightly off in a couple spots, but he's still right there in the driver's seat. Hole 9. Dual option off the tee. This right side that the drone is flying is going to kind of be the safer option that players who take it are definitely not going for that big bird eagle, just looking for a regular birdie or a par at worst. Lace it up that middle gap with a straight shot that fades late, and maybe you can get right around here. I've seen some huge shots get well down the hill this week. From there, you're going to have a touchy approach with this left to right side slope. You got to land it on the high side of the basket, trickle down, and this is definitely one of the more treacherous putting greens on the course.
Go, baby. Go!
Yeah, that's smoked. Wow, it's way up there, Connor.
Yeah, ideal landing for Locastro. He's going to have...
He might even have that flex gnome into the green.
Yeah, he'll have a forehand or even just like a backhand to the high side, depending on how aggressive he wants to get.
That's leaking out, but it skirts the trees.
Sit.
And a little favorable roll.
Chandler looks like he's lining up that wide gap.
Oh, it's inside.
A little too much turn, but it looks like a forward kick. Kicking left or right on those initial trees off this tee can be a disaster here.
Yeah.
Gannon a touch inside, but able to crest up on the hill. He's going to be forced into some kind of a poke and hope flex forehand likely, though.
Oh, if that holds that turn. And just fading out a tad early. He's actually going to be near the tee pad of 10.
Presnell goes to the standstill. Looks to have probably still 100 feet to the basket or so.
Oh, A2 for Gannon.
There it is.
Ooh, look at this, Connor.
Wow, he
Look at
matched
this.
the angle
Chill.
perfectly, and it stays
and
on
he's
top.
there for eagle.
Almost slides down the little coin slot there, but Gannon just filleted this hole. Let's see if Nico can follow suit. Here's that gnome.
Oh,
Little too much turn.
It's going good over there.
And quells the emotions on that one. I know he's been working on it a lot this season. Trying to smile through the pain.
Gives himself a birdie putt.
It's a scary one, though. Chandler going spike forehand. I believe that's his walker. Very overstable mid-range. Andrew drifting this focus shot up there. Good touch.
Yeah, really touchy. Really easy to see those roll off the back.
Now, Nate, what do you think about par 5 status on this hole? Chandler almost ringing one up for us.
I personally think it's okay to have, par 5s that you can score eagles on.
Yeah?
Oh, no,
gosh.
and that's headed down the hill.
You never know how far this one can go, and once you're back off that little cliff, even 10 feet, there's just really nothing. You kind of got to punch through some stuff.
I think because of how technical the second shot really is, that I think it's still a true par 5. And
Yeah, I agree. I think I like it. I think it does obviously lend for the eagle, and if you throw an amazing drive, it makes it a whole lot easier, but you'll still see probably some, I'd still bet we see some double and triple bogeys on this one. And
yeah, I mean, Gannon was the lone eagle, and there was definitely a triple, a double, and about as many bogeys as there were birdies. So
Yeah.
it scored like a par 5.
It's a good separator. Tough birdie to bogey go for Nico, especially when he had a chance for that eagle.
Yeah, kind of a tough front for Nico. I mean, he went birdie to bogey twice, once there on the 5th and, of course, there on the 9th, and finds himself 4 back of the lead
Yeah,
currently.
on this
4
card
back of
with any
Gannon,
bogeys.
actually. I believe that Joel and Kyle might have surpassed them. We're going to take a look at the scores now. Okay, Kyle 6 on the front, Joel 4 on the front, so 19 is the number. Presnell just 1 back.
Yeah, Kyle moving way faster than anybody else on this front. Let's see if he can keep it going on the back and continue to pressure these leaders.
All right, guys. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment. Let us know who's going to take down the Mid-America Open, and we will see you soon for the conclusion here at Harmony Bins.
And don't forget to pick up me and Nate Perkins' Tour Series discs.
Oh, yeah. Connor just dropped the, what is it, the Orbit
River.
River.
And then what's yours?
Nice and understable. And mine is the Lotus from Clash Discs. Love you guys.